Mark Hale for the New York Post here from the Post headquarters, actually. We're going to be talking with our beat writer extraordinaire for the Yankees, George King, about this weekend's Yankees-Red Sox series. And George, the Yankees and Red Sox have played 3 series this season. The Red Sox have taken 8 of the 9 games. They've won the last 7. Is it a matchup? Is this just a bad matchup for the Yankees, with the way the two teams are structured, or is it too small a sample size to make that conclusion? How do you look at the matchup itself between the two teams?
The first impression is that it's too small of a sample, but you can't ignore what's gone on here. But then you have to turn around, look a couple of years ago, they were 0-8 and wound up 500 against the Red Sox.
Right.
The matchup thing only, I think, goes as far as who's pitching. And if you look at what's coming up this weekend, you would probably give it a nod to the Red Sox. They got Lester, Lackey, and Beckett against Colon, Sabathia, and Garcia. And, the pressure's on Sabathia to win that game because Lackey's been just awful. But you also got to realize that the Yankees are hitting a lot better in the last 10 days than they have all season. And they also have been beaten up on left-handed pitchers. I know Lester's a quality left-handed pitcher. So I think when you get to the matchups kind of thing, it gets a little blurry, but it's hard to ignore, when you're 1-8 against somebody, especially when you're 1-8 against a team that you have to beat to win the division.
George, let's talk about the pitching this weekend. As you just mentioned, it's Lester and Colon tonight, then it's Sabathia and Lackey in the second game of the series, and then the series finale Sunday night is Beckett and Freddie Garcia. How do you look at the pitching this weekend? Who has the advantage? And with Sabathia in particular, he's been so terrific, but he's actually 0-3 with a 6.16 ERA against the Red Sox this year. Anything you can point to, and how big is it for him to get going against Boston?
Well, it's obviously important for him to win, especially this weekend, like I said before, when the Yankees should score some runs against Lackey. But I think what you got to realize about the Sabathia against the Red Sox this year, he hasn't faced them in a while, and
right.
He has been the best pitcher in baseball over the last 6 weeks, maybe. So you're looking at it with probably a lot better pitcher than who was throwing the last time he faced the Red Sox. As far as the other thing goes, Lester Colon is probably not that big of a mismatch because Colon has been very good. Him and Garcia have basically saved the Yankee season. When you move to Sunday and you see Beckett against Garcia, and Garcia's probably tired of hearing about it, and the people who like Garcia are tired of hearing about it, but he can fool a lot of people. It's hard to fool those first 6 hitters in the Red Sox lineup. And he does it with off-speed stuff, so you would think that the Red Sox would have an edge with Beckett.
George, especially with Alex Rodriguez out, Mark Teixeira's value in this lineup is of even added importance. He's been really bad against Boston this year, just 4 for 33, but you had a great note in the Post in yesterday's papers about how Teixeira has kind of gotten on track now thanks to an adjustment he made with Kevin Long. What did he do to get going, and is Teixeira maybe in kind of finding his groove right now at the plate?
He told Kevin Long and Teixeira said that he was late getting his front foot down, causing the ball not to travel as far and not to get as good a swing. In the last week or so, despite what he said being dog tired, he has basically carried this club offensively, and you just think that he was hitting 240. And you knew he wasn't a 240 hitter, but it was probably the most productive 240 in baseball with the home runs, RBIs, and the thing against Boston, let's not forget. When you run up there and when Buck Holtz was healthy, you played him 3 times. You had a chance. You played him 4 times. You had a chance of seeing Lester, Buck Holtz, and Beckett, and that's not an easy task because they are one healthy, very good pitchers. So I don't think you put too much stock in the numbers against a certain team after 9 games, especially when you historically are a hitter like this guy. This guy is a very, very good hitter who's hitting very well right now. Which let's see what happens after the weekend.
All right, we'll see. As you said, we will see what happens. We'll see what happens with Teixeira, and obviously the pitching, starting with the series opener tonight. Colon against John Lester for the Red Sox up in Fenway Park. George will be there. You can follow him for the best Yankees coverage in New York. I'll be there as well, along with Joel Sherman and Mike Vaccaro. So follow us at nypost.com. For the New York Post, I'm Mark Hale.